What if I told you Netflix spent years trying to stop password sharing, then figured out it could make even more money because of it? For over a decade, millions of people watched Netflix without paying a single dollar. Friends shared accounts. Families stretched one subscription across 3 cities. College roommates kept using the same login years after moving out. Everyone knew it was happening. Netflix knew it too. In fact, back in 2017, the company's own Twitter account joked, "Love is sharing a password." It looked harmless, maybe even good marketing. But behind the scenes, something strange was happening. Netflix wasn't just losing customers, it was collecting data on one of the largest unpaid audiences in the world. And eventually, that audience became a billion-dollar opportunity. Here's how. When Netflix launched its streaming service in 2007, its goal wasn't to squeeze every possible dollar out of every viewer. It had a much bigger problem: growth. Streaming was still new. People weren't sure if paying monthly for movies made sense. So Netflix optimized for one thing: get as many people watching as possible, even if some weren't paying. Think about it. If your friend gave you your Netflix password, you probably didn't feel guilty. You watched a few shows, then a few more. Soon, Netflix became part of your daily routine. Without realizing it, you were building a habit. And habits are incredibly valuable. Because once people become used to a service, convincing them to leave becomes much harder. Password sharing wasn't just piracy. It was free product distribution. Millions of unpaid users were advertising Netflix without even knowing it. By 2022, Netflix estimated that more than 100 million households were using someone else's account. 100 million. That's larger than the population of many countries. Most companies would panic. Netflix saw a waiting list. Then something changed. For the first time in over a decade, Netflix reported losing subscribers. Competition exploded. Disney Plus arrived, Max, Prime Video, Apple TV Plus. Suddenly, people had options. At the same time, Netflix was spending billions of dollars every year producing original shows. Hits like Stranger Things and Wednesday weren't cheap. Growth slowed, costs didn't. And Wall Street stopped rewarding subscriber growth alone. Now, investors wanted something much simpler: more revenue. So Netflix looked at those 100 million unpaid households and asked a simple question. What if they already love Netflix and just need a gentle push to pay? Notice what they didn't do. They didn't ban password sharing overnight. That would have created outrage. Instead, they redesigned the system. The main account holder could still share, but only with people living in the same household. If someone lived somewhere else, Netflix offered an extra member option for a smaller fee, or that person could start their own subscription. It wasn't a punishment. It was a choice, and that's what made it work. Most people weren't deciding between paying and never watching again. They were deciding between paying a little or losing access to a service they already used every week. That's a very different psychological decision. Netflix had spent years turning viewers into loyal users. Now, it simply asks some of them to become paying customers. Many did. Analysts expected cancellations. Instead, something surprising happened. Sign-ups increased. Former password borrowers created their own accounts. Existing members paid extra to keep sharing legally. Revenue climbed, operating profits improved, and the company added millions of new paying subscribers after launching the crackdown. The same behavior that once looked like lost revenue became one of Netflix's biggest growth engines. That's the irony. Netflix didn't suddenly discover password sharing. It understood it better than everyone else. First, it tolerated it while it needed growth. Then, it monetized it when it needed profit. Same users, different strategy. Today, more subscription companies are watching Netflix closely. Music services, software companies, gaming platforms. Everyone is asking the same question. How many unpaid users aren't actually a problem, but future customers waiting for the right moment? Because sometimes the biggest opportunity isn't finding new customers. It's realizing the ones you already have just haven't started paying yet.